Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I am so excited because I'm going to be doing a palette bingo. It's been kind of a hot minute since I did my last one, and I always find them super inspiring. It's a great way to utilize a palette maybe in a different way than I would gravitate towards it naturally. And today I'm really excited because the palette that I've selected has so many beautiful colors in it, and I feel like I could get a really interesting look with this palette. So I'm going to be using the collaboration palette from Sigma and Angela Bright. I've used this several times, actually quite a lot since I received it in PR, and it is so incredibly beautiful. I'm loving the textures of these eyeshadows. I'm loving the color story in here as well. I feel like there's so many interesting color pairings in this palette, and I just feel like it's absolutely perfect for a palette bingo. So I'm so excited to get on into it. I am going to be selecting the eyeshadows that I'm going to use in today's look randomly using the Pretty Random app. I have the shades 1 to 14 here in the app, and what I'm gonna do to select my eyeshadows that I'm gonna wear for today is I'm gonna start with number 1 here. This shade will be number 7, and then 8 through 14 will be in the bottom row. So yeah, let's just get right on into it. I'm so excited to see what kind of look I'm gonna be rocking today. So let's select the shades together. The first shadow that I've selected is shade number 13. And shadow number 13 is this beautiful, deep, kind of foresty, emeraldy kind of metallic green. And this is called Fae. I have really enjoyed this shadow every time that I've used it so far. It was the shade that I had to integrate into my very first look using this palette because you know I love my greens, so I'm excited for this being my very first selection. And then my next shadow is gonna be shade number 1 in the palette. And this one here is shadow number 1, which is a bright kind of ivory shade. This shadow is actually called Bright, and it is a more of a satiny kind of shadow texture, and it's just a beautiful highlighting type of color. Shadow number 4 is number 14 in the palette, which is this one right here. This is a beautiful deep brown matte shade. The texture on this is incredible, super soft and blendable. And so far I am loving this color palette, by the way. This shade is called Cold Brew, and it is just a really beautiful, rich, chocolatey kind of brown shade. And then the fourth and final shade selection is going to be shadow number 2. Shadow number 2 is this one right here, which is kind of like a soft brown shade. This is called Basic. And I got very fortunate with how cohesive this color palette is. Like, this is a perfect little quad right here. So do I want to pull another shade? I don't think so. I don't want to risk it. So I'm just gonna play around with this little color palette right here. This is such a beautiful quad. And these are just the kinds of shades that I absolutely love to wear. So I'm so happy I'm gonna be rocking a green look for today. I'll also be using Angela's Favorites brush set today, and I am so happy to have received this in PR because these are all really beautiful looking brushes. I haven't yet opened up this package, but I do have a couple of these brushes already in my collection, and Sigma brushes are amazing. I only recently tried them out for the first time, and yeah, they're worth the hype for sure. So in this set, we have 5 different brushes, and I will be using as many of these as I can to create today's look too. All right, so I just put a little bit of eyeshadow primer on, and I think I'm gonna dip into this palette just to set down my primer. So I'm gonna use the shade Bare with the E28 brush to set that down, just to allow things to blend a little bit easier. Bare is not technically one of my selections, but if it had been, I probably would have simply just added another shade to the color palette because I use a cream shadow like this on a daily basis anyways. So I'm going to be going into the 4th shade that I randomized, which is called Basic, that really light, cool brown shade. And I'm going to use the E33 to add this into my crease. I think this is a great little detail kind of brush, and this is perfect for my like hooded eyes, my smaller hooded eyes, to get a little bit more precision, this type of brush. So I love that it's in this kit. All the time, these blending brushes, or oftentimes I should say, these buffing brushes are really large and can be really overpowering for my eyes. They end up just kind of covering my entire lid. So I love, love, love a really small blending brush like this. I can foresee myself using this brush a ton for so many different looks. Perfect for the lower lash line, in the crease, a little bit more precision in the inner corner as well. Key. So the next shade I'm going to use is Cold Brew, which was the second to last shade that I had selected as well, the beautiful deep matte brown, and I'm going to be using the same brush to apply this, and I'm going to just apply this on more so the outer portion of my lid, and I'm just kind of like patting it down as opposed to using this brush to blend with, and then I will blend out that edge. I'm creating like a angular wing kind of shape. I don't know, I didn't really plan to do this, but that's what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of thinking that I'm gonna just put the green only on the lower lash line. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Do I want to put this all over the lid? I kind of think I want to put it all over the lid actually, because it's actually not as deep and smoky as I was expecting. It definitely is a deeper kind of shadow, but I don't feel like it looks too overwhelming because you can kind of sheer it out when you're applying it with more of this blending brush. If I was using more of a packing brush, I think I could get really rich impact from it. But this color is just so nice and this formula is so soft. I am just going to use the exact same brush with a little bit of basic to kind of help to blend out the edges. Make sure everything looks nice and seamless. It actually seems like that shadow is like a little skippy there. I don't know if it's because I didn't properly set down my primer. So I am going to actually use something that is a little bit more for packing, the E57 instead, which is also part of that set. And I'm going to use that to kind of amp up the coverage of that and smooth it out a bit. Yeah, there we go. I haven't added any additional product or any new shadow to this brush, so I'm just going to use it to, again, blend out that edge. And yeah, I'm a lot happier with how that is coming together now. It's not perfect on the lid, but that's okay. I think I'll use the shade Bright, this one right here, which is like that creamy kind of golden shade. I think I'll use that on the inner portion of my lid. So let's do that right now. I'm just gonna apply that using my ring finger, and I'm just gonna pop this into this inner portion on top of the brown. This is a little bit more of a sheer shadow, but I think it's like a great shade for layering. Like you could layer it on top of pretty much any of the mattes in this palette and create a really unique look. Like this shade Bright on top of like the berry called Zinfandel, or even on PDX, that teal kind of shade would be so pretty. So I'm gonna go and do my base, the rest of my face makeup, before I decide if the green is only gonna go on the lower lash line or if it's gonna sneak its way into the lid. But for now, I just wanna keep it at this, so I'll be right back with the remainder of the makeup finished. Okay, so let's finish off this look. I'm gonna use the shade Basic again on now the E27 brush. This is the Detail Blending brush, which is a beautiful little blending, more tapered kind of brush. And I'm just gonna use this on my lower lash line to just create a little bit of a base to put the green on, because I think I have decided I just wanna have the green on my lower lash line. And then using the exact same brush, I'm gonna use the shade Cold Brew. I'm putting the tiniest amount of powder on to this brush, and then I did just tap it off, just the tiniest amount. I'm just going to use that on the very outer corner, just so that it feels a little bit more connected and cohesive with the lid. And this brush does like all the blending work too, which is great. And then I just wiped off the firm shader brush, the E57. I wiped the shade Cold Brew off of it, and I'm going to try to dip into the shade Fay, which is that green shade, more so on the tip of this brush, so that I can get a little bit more precision and control. And I'm going to use that to apply to the lower lash line. What a pretty shadow. It's such a wearable kind of green. I love, love, love this kind of color. it really reads as more of a neutral, I feel like, personally. I feel like it's the kind of green that's very comfortable for a lot of people, really approachable for a lot of people. And always, I find wearing a pop of color on the lower lash line is a little bit more wearable too. I'm not doing much today, so I definitely could have been a little bit more intense, but I kind of dig this. The contrast of a very minimal lid with a bright lower lash line is such a fun look always. Very lastly, I am going to be using the E42 brush with the shade Bright again, and I'm going to apply that to the inner corner and bring it a little bit onto the lid and across the lower lash line a little bit, just to help to blend it all together. Should I put this on the brow bone just because this is the kind of shade that works for that? I'm thinking so. I don't think I've used it on the brow bone yet. Oh yeah, that's pretty. That is really pretty on the brow. I feel like I chose the wrong lip to go with this eye, so I'm gonna pick a different lip, put on some mascara, and then I'll be right back to share with you the completed look. So here we are with the final look. I swapped the lip out for my Mob Beauty M60. This is the cream lipstick, and this is like a beautiful brown lip. And I think it looks so much better with this lip versus that more peachy kind of tone that I had originally put on. It just gives it this grungy vibe, especially because today I'm wearing this like black denim dress scenario, and I feel like this dress is just very grungy. And so I'm super happy with the randomized look that I was able to create using this palette, because it really is going with the vibe that I'm sort of feeling right now, and I just love this. These 4 shades that I selected are like perfect to go together, very, very cohesive, but I could have created any multitude of looks with this palette, and it is just such a fun color story. Congratulations, Angela, on this collaboration. This is so incredibly beautiful, very versatile. It's just an incredible, incredible color story and formulation. So congrats, Angela. Thank you so much for sending this to me in PR. I really do appreciate it so much. And this is just something that is so, so special. I also was able to use all 5 of the brushes in her favorite set today to create this look. So I will have both of these items linked down in the description box for you if you're interested in checking out either of these. I don't have an affiliate code. I don't get any kind of commission or anything like that. I will just link them down in the description box to show my support. Hopefully, if you're interested, you do decide to go and pick up either of these. They're really, really great. This palette is something super special, and yeah, I've had so much fun playing with it, not only today, but the many times that I've already used it in looks. So yeah, that is everything, everyone. Thank you so, so much for watching and for spending some time with me. I love a good old palette bingo, and I'm feeling this look. I'm really feeling this. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Pepper, you want a bean? Want a bean? That's your good girl. So precious.